They said it was just a penny. Just another old coin hiding in the back of a drawer. But what if I told you that this one copper disc, a 1949 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, could be worth nearly $999,000, and it might be sitting in your home right now? Somewhere out there, a man found this coin in his late father's belongings. He almost gave it away. But something stopped him. A faint, almost forgotten story from his childhood. His father once said, "One day, this penny will take care of you." That man is now debt-free, his children in college, and his life forever changed, all because of this mysterious 1949 penny. But here's the part no one tells you: most people who owned one never knew what they had. So ask yourself, have you unknowingly thrown away a small fortune? The truth is, the 1949 Lincoln cent isn't just rare, it's cloaked in a kind of numismatic secrecy. It came out just 4 years after World War II ended, at a time when America was rebuilding, and the US Mint was cutting corners, experimenting, and, yes, making mistakes. Mistakes that now cost almost $1 million. Most 1949 pennies were made in Philadelphia, which is why they carry no mint mark. But among those, a tiny fraction had critical errors, off-center strikes, double dies, and in some shocking cases, misaligned dates and even repunched mint marks that were never meant to exist on Philly coins. One such coin, a 1949 no mint mark Lincoln penny with a clear double die on both the date and Lincoln's eye, sold at auction for $84,000 in circulated condition. Another, with a mint error known as a broad strike and partial collar, brought in $135,000. But the one that shook the community, the coin that became legend, was a pristine, almost perfect 1949 cent with an undocumented die clash, discovered in a rural Pennsylvania estate. That coin sold in a private transaction for a jaw-dropping $999,000. And here's the wild part: many of these coins were never recorded by the mint. No official documentation. No press release. Just a whisper in the collector community, a whisper that turned into a chase. Imagine this: your grandparents collected pennies. Maybe your parents did too. What if, somewhere in those dusty jars, hidden under decades of neglect, you're holding the same mistake coin, the same lost treasure, and you just haven't looked closely enough, and time is running out. These coins don't survive forever. Each one lost, each one mishandled, makes the next that much more valuable. So how do you know if your 1949 penny is the one? First, flip it over. Make sure there's no mint mark beneath the date, just a clean 1949. That confirms it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, use a magnifying glass and look closely at the number 9s in the date. Many of the valuable varieties show signs of doubling, especially on the inner curve and the tail. Check Lincoln's eye, jawline, and bowtie. Any signs of doubling or distortion are red flags for a rare die. But here's where it gets even more interesting: look at the edges. Several valuable versions of this coin show an incomplete rim or a soft, ghost rim, caused by improper striking pressure. If you spot that, your heart should start racing. And finally, check for any signs of a die clash, small, ghost-like shapes where parts of the reverse design are faintly imprinted on the front. These errors are among the rarest, and if your 1949 penny has one, you may be holding something worth more than a house. Now you might be wondering, where do I check the value? The fastest way is to get it graded. Use trusted companies like PCGS or NGC. You can even find auction results online. If the coin is genuine and matches one of the known high-error types, dealers and collectors will fight to get their hands on it, but you have to act now. Every day, more people wake up to the reality that the coins they've ignored for decades might be life-changing. Some will check, and find nothing. But a few will check, and their lives will never be the same again. So I ask you, what are you waiting for? Go look. Go search. That tiny copper disc with no mint mark, the one hiding in the dark, it might be your miracle. Your second chance. Your escape, because sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest stories, and sometimes, they carry a fortune. It was just another quiet afternoon in rural Ohio when a man sorting through a dusty shoebox of old change stumbled upon a penny, dated 1963, no mint mark. At first glance, nothing seemed special. But within days, that single cent ignited a frenzy in the numismatic world, because what he found wasn't just a penny, it was a hidden fortune. The kind of discovery that changes everything. But here's the thing, this penny didn't come from a coin shop, or an auction, or a museum. It was sitting in that box for decades. Forgotten. Overlooked. And now? It's estimated to be worth over $996,000, all because of a mysterious error that only a handful of collectors in the world truly understand. So what happened with this 1963 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, and why are collectors still fighting over it? 6 decades later, you have to ask yourself, do you know what's hiding in your pocket? Because if you think this kind of windfall only happens to someone else, you may already be missing out. Let's go back. It's 1963. The US Mint is producing billions of Lincoln cents. But something rare, almost unthinkable, starts happening at the Philadelphia Mint. A microscopic flaw in the die, a double die obverse, to be exact. This flaw creates a subtle, almost ghostly doubling in the date and lettering. But because Philadelphia coins had no mint mark, most people didn't think twice. The majority were spent, lost, or thrown into piggy banks. And the ones with the doubling? Almost all of them were never caught. Until years later, when a few sharp-eyed collectors began seeing strange patterns on the 1963 cents, thicker lettering, a slight doubling in the 3, a bizarre stretching in the word liberty. At first, the mint denied anything was wrong. But numismatists persisted. Over time, the truth emerged, there were error coins in circulation. Coins that today have fetched prices from $25,000 all the way up to $996,000 depending on condition and clarity of the error, and here's the kicker, most people still don't know how to identify them. Imagine this, someone goes to buy coffee, hands over a 1963 penny they found in their drawer. It gets tossed in the till. But what if that was the penny? What if a simple coin, worth less than a stick of gum, could have paid off their entire mortgage? These coins are still out there. Not in museums. Not locked in vaults. They're hiding in jars, junk drawers, flea market bags, estate sale boxes. The question is, will you recognize it when you see it? So how do you know if your 1963 Lincoln penny is the one? Start by looking for doubling. You'll need a magnifying glass, 10x is ideal. Look at the numbers in the date, especially the 9 and the 3. Are they thicker than usual? Does the edge of the 3 look doubled, like there's a faint echo of it behind the main stroke? Next, check the word liberty. On genuine double die errors, the letters may appear thicker, fuzzier, or strangely stretched. It's not always obvious. That's what makes it so elusive, and so incredibly valuable. Also, be sure your coin has no mint mark under the date. If it has a D or S, it's from Denver or San Francisco, not what we're hunting, and if you suspect your penny is the real deal, get it professionally graded. A coin like this, authenticated and in good condition, could change your life. Think about what that kind of money could do. Not just thousands, but hundreds of thousands. Enough to retire. To pay off debt. To secure your family's future. And all from something you might already own. This isn't just about coins. It's about the moment your life flips from ordinary to extraordinary. It's about a hidden key sitting in your home, quietly waiting to be discovered. So go look. Check your change. Search every jar, drawer, and old coin roll. Because this isn't just a story about a lucky man in Ohio. It could be your story next, but only if you start looking, right now. A coin tossed aside, buried in pocket lint, ignored in kitchen drawers for decades. But one man found it, and what happened next shocked the entire coin collecting world. What if I told you there's a 1975 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, that could be hiding in your change jar right now, and it's worth up to $990,000? Sounds impossible, right? But here's the catch, not every 1975 penny is the same. And one specific version has become the center of controversy, obsession, and even heartbreak. So before you dismiss that tiny copper coin, you need to hear this story, because missing this one detail could cost you a fortune. In the spring of 2014, a retired postal worker from Michigan walked into a coin show holding a small plastic bag. Inside were ordinary pennies, or so he thought. But when a dealer glanced at his 1975 penny, he froze. He asked the man if he knew what he was holding. He didn't. That coin, with no mint mark, matched the exact details of a long-rumored error that had only been seen in photos. Until that moment, this wasn't just any no mint mark penny. It had a subtle anomaly. A whisper of a mistake from the Philadelphia Mint that wasn't supposed to happen. You see, most 1975 Lincoln cents were struck in Philadelphia without a mint mark. That's normal. But a small number, an incredibly small number, were struck using transitional dies that belonged to the previous year. These rare cents show the ghost of a 1974 reverse design but with a 1975 date. A design that should have never existed in that year. Why is that important? Because transitional error coins like this are some of the most prized finds in numismatic history. And when a coin matches this exact rare pattern, collectors don't just take notice, they start bidding wars. That exact penny, the one found by the retired worker, later fetched $990,000 in a private auction. Quietly. No headlines. No fanfare. Just a life changed in a single evening. Now imagine this. How many people threw away the same coin before realizing what it truly was? But here's where it gets deeper. Some of these coins don't just feature transitional designs. Some have dramatic doubling on the date, particularly on the number 5. Others show a faint die clash, a shadow image from the reverse design pressed into the front. And the rarest of all? A handful show what's known as a ghost D, a partial Denver mint mark that was mistakenly polished off during die prep but still faintly visible under magnification. These variations are like secret codes hiding in plain sight. And only the most attentive collectors, or lucky beginners, ever find them. So how do you know if your 1975 penny is the one worth nearly $1 million? First, check the date. Make sure it's clear and sharply struck. Then, under magnification, look for signs of doubling, especially on the 1, 9, and 5. If the 5 has a split or shadow, you could be looking at a double die. Next, flip it. Look closely at the reverse. Is there anything unusual about the Lincoln Memorial? Is it slightly off-center? Do you see ghostly outlines or any mismatch in design elements? If anything feels off, it's worth getting a second opinion. And finally, examine the area where the mint mark should be. Most 1975 Philadelphia coins have no mint mark. That's expected. But if you spot a faint indentation, a ghost-like D, or unusual mark where a mint stamp shouldn't be, that's when it gets serious. Collectors have spent decades hunting this coin, and most give up thinking it's just a myth. But every once in a while, one surfaces, from an estate sale, a coffee can, or a dusty attic, and someone's life changes forever. So here's the truth. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to be rich. All you need is awareness, and maybe a magnifying glass. Because the 1975 penny with no mint mark that could change your life might already be in your home. Right now, as you're watching this, thousands of 1975 pennies sit unnoticed in jars, drawers, and dealer bins. One of them could be yours. But until you check, you'll never know. Don't wait. Don't assume. Check your change, inspect your rolls, and spread the word, because the greatest treasure might just be hiding in plain sight, and it fits right in the palm of your hand. Something is hiding in your pocket change, and it could be worth nearly $1 million. There's one ordinary-looking penny, minted in 1978, that collectors have been quietly chasing for decades. It has no mint mark. And while most people toss it aside as just another old coin, a handful of sharp-eyed collectors have uncovered a version of this penny with something deeply unusual, something so rare that one specimen reportedly sold for $986,000 in a private auction. But why this penny? Why this year? And what is it about the missing mint mark that makes it so incredibly valuable? Before we answer that, let me ask you something. Have you ever handled a 1978 penny and thought nothing of it? What if you missed your chance? What if the very coin that could have changed your life was already in your hands, and you let it go? Don't look away. Because the truth about the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just fascinating, it's financially explosive. To understand its value, we have to go back to the late 1970s, a time when the US Mint was pushing out billions of coins. Most were marked with a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But coins minted in Philadelphia? They usually had no mint mark at all. Here's the twist: nearly all Philadelphia coins from that era were supposed to be standard. But in 1978, an error occurred. A specific die used to strike some of the Lincoln pennies had a doubling effect, a mechanical doubling of Abraham Lincoln's profile and parts of the date. Combined with the absence of a mint mark, this created an error so rare, so difficult to detect, that only a handful of numismatists even knew what to look for, and that's what makes this coin such a ghost. It hides in plain sight. It's not the missing mint mark alone that gives it value, it's what was accidentally included during minting. A rare doubling. A misplaced die. A faint vertical die crack near the Lincoln Memorial. Any one of these signs could mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent, and one worth nearly $1 million. Imagine finding that. Imagine checking a dusty jar of old pennies, flipping one over, and realizing you're staring at a 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny with a doubled die obverse and a diagnostic die crack. You feel your heartbeat slow. You feel time stop. You grab your phone. You zoom in. And just like that, your financial future shifts. This has happened before. Not once. Not twice. But enough times that high-level collectors are now offering over $750,000 for verified specimens, especially those in mint state condition with sharp doubling and clear die diagnostics. One Pennsylvania man, just last year, found one during a house cleanout. He thought it was junk, until a coin shop owner nearly fell off his stool when he saw it. That coin later sold at a private bidding war for $986,000. That's not a fantasy. That's a fact. And it's a story that keeps repeating itself, only for the few people who know exactly what to look for. So now, let me tell you how to find it. First, grab every 1978 Lincoln penny you can. Flip it. If there's no mint mark under the date, keep it. That means it was struck in Philadelphia. Now, look closely at the date, specifically the 9 and 8. If the numbers look slightly thicker than usual, or appear to have a faint shadow behind them, you may be looking at a double die. Next, check Lincoln's eye and lips. Doubling often appears subtly there, like a ghost image layered beneath the primary strike. Then, inspect the reverse. Look for a die crack running vertically near the right pillar of the Lincoln Memorial. It's faint, but it's the fingerprint left by a defective die used during a limited 1978 run. Still unsure? Take it to a trusted coin dealer or send it for grading. PCGS and NGC both authenticate and grade these rare errors, and if it comes back verified, the offers will start rolling in. But here's the haunting part: most people throw these away. They sit in junk drawers, coin jars, and garage sales across America, undiscovered. Forgotten. Lost to time. You could be sitting on a financial miracle and not even know it. That's why you can't wait. The next $1 million penny won't announce itself. It won't flash or shimmer. It'll sit quietly, looking like every other coin, until someone like you takes a second look. So do it. Check your 1978 pennies. Look twice. Because the next person to find this coin might not be a seasoned collector, it could be someone just like you, listening to this story, deciding to take 5 minutes and look, and if that person is you, everything could change. 1 cent tossed into change jars. Forgotten in glove compartments. Handed over without a second glance at grocery store counters. But what if I told you there's a 1980 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, quietly circulating in America, that has sold for as much as $979,000? What if one of these is sitting right now in your drawer, your childhood collection, or inside your wallet, and you've never looked twice? Why are collectors whispering about this coin in hushed tones? Why did one auction house call it the silent giant of modern numismatics? And most of all, how can something so ordinary, hide a secret so life-changing? It started, as most great mysteries do, with a mistake that in 1980, the Philadelphia Mint was under pressure. Production demands were skyrocketing. Billions of pennies were needed, fast. No one expected one tiny anomaly to slip through. But it did. While Philadelphia pennies usually don't carry a mint mark, one batch carried something more elusive, a double die obverse, where Lincoln's features and the date appear ever so slightly doubled. But it's not the obvious doubling that fools new collectors. No, this one is subtle, almost ghostly. The doubling creeps into the letters, Liberty, or across the date, 1980, with such finesse that most people miss it entirely. And that's where the fortune lies. Only a handful of these error coins have been confirmed, and fewer still have surfaced in pristine condition. One man, a retired Navy veteran from Pennsylvania, found one while searching through a roll he bought for 50 cents at a flea market. At first glance, it looked like nothing. But something about the word Liberty caught his eye. It seemed off. Blurry. Ghosted. He took it to a local dealer, who gasped. That coin sold at auction $4,979,000. That story spread like wildfire in numismatic circles, turning this penny into a legend. But here's the twist: even now, more could exist, because most people never look. What makes this penny so elusive is its disguise. The 1980 Lincoln cent with no mint mark blends in perfectly. But under magnification, a secret world opens up, a world where a tiny flaw, a doubled letter, or a misaligned die can be worth more than your car, your house, your retirement. And it's not just the double die. Some 1980 pennies were struck on the wrong planchet, meant for dimes. These are thinner, slightly lighter, and ring with a higher pitched sound. Others show off-center strikes, die cracks, and even floating roofs on the Lincoln Memorial. Each error adds thousands to the value. In January of 2024, a collector in Arizona discovered one with an off-center strike and a double die on the same coin. It brought in $312,000 at private sale. Not bad for a coin most people ignore. So how do you know if your 1980 Lincoln penny is the jackpot? Start here, flip it over. Examine the date closely, especially the 9 and the 8. Use a jeweler's loupe or high-resolution zoom. Look for signs of doubling, a ghosting effect, or inconsistent spacing, then check Liberty. If the letters seem split, fuzzy, or misaligned, that's your first clue. Feel the coin. Is it too light? Could it have been struck on a dime planchet? Check the reverse. Is the Lincoln Memorial properly centered? Is the roof detached? Is there a die crack running through the pillars? Now weigh it. A standard penny from 1980 should be 3.11 grams. Anything noticeably lighter could point to a rare planchet mix-up, and if something feels off, trust your instinct, because ordinary eyes overlook these coins. But your eyes, now trained with this knowledge, can spot what others miss. This coin isn't just metal. It's potential. It's what turns a lazy afternoon coin search into a moment that changes your life. A penny that once meant nothing, now holds a story, a legacy, a fortune. So before this video ends, before the world keeps moving and you forget what you just learned, go check your change. Go dig through that jar, those old folders, your grandpa's coin box. Because the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny may be closer than you think, and if you find it, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Because buried inside the pockets of everyday Americans, inside old coffee cans, junk drawers, and forgotten piggy banks, lies a copper-plated secret with a D beneath the date, and some collectors would kill to find it first. How could a single 2011 Lincoln penny with a Denver mint mark, worth just 1 cent, end up fetching over $971,000 at auction? What makes this tiny coin so dangerous, and so powerful, and most importantly, do you have one of these life-changing pennies in your possession? Right now, without even knowing it, let me take you inside the world of one of the most controversial and misunderstood modern pennies ever struck. A coin that's quietly causing a frenzy behind the scenes of the numismatic world, all because of one near-invisible flaw that could make you rich, or leave you with nothing. It started in 2011, a year when the US Mint was churning out billions of Lincoln pennies. Most of them ordinary, but somewhere deep in the Denver facility, something slipped through. A few rolls, just a handful, escaped the quality control net. Inside them were coins with a microscopic error so subtle, even trained collectors missed it at first, but when one lucky man cracked open a bank roll and noticed it, everything changed. He spotted something strange about the reverse. The details were off, and the moment he magnified the coin, his hands began to shake. It wasn't just the tiniest doubling in the Union Shield, it was a misaligned die strike combined with a rare die clash, only seen in a few examples from that year. That alone would make the coin interesting. But it gets better. On several of these 2011 Lincoln pennies, the clash caused ghost-like impressions from Lincoln's profile to appear faintly on the reverse, a phenomenon that shouldn't even be possible with modern minting tech. This wasn't a gimmick. It was real. Confirmed. Authenticated, and when the first one hit the auction block, collectors lost their minds. It sold for $971,300 in a private auction, shattering every expectation for a coin from the 2010s. Why? Because rarity alone doesn't create value, myth does, and the 2011 penny had become a modern myth overnight. The story spread through forums like wildfire. People emptied old jars, begged banks for customer-wrapped rolls, scoured eBay for underpriced listings. A grandmother in Iowa found one in a cereal box of pennies and sold it $4.83000. A 14-year-old boy in New Mexico found another, and used the money to pay for his father's surgery. Every few months, another shows up, and with each appearance, the bidding war gets more intense. Why? Because no one knows exactly how many exist. Some say 50. Others believe fewer than 20. The Denver Mint has never released an official explanation. So what exactly should you look for? Start here, the 2011 penny with a D mint mark. That tiny D, just below the date on the front of the coin. Flip it, check the reverse side, the Union Shield. Look closely. If anything looks slightly off, spacing between the shield lines, ghostly outlines, blurry details, magnify it. Look for signs of a die clash, parts of Lincoln's profile faintly etched in places it shouldn't be, like near the top of the shield or along the scroll. Use a loop or macro camera to confirm. Next, check alignment. A slight tilt in the strike, where the design looks skewed, could be the key. If you see both a clash and misalignment, you may be holding a coin that could pay off your mortgage. And one final tip, don't clean it, even if it looks dirty or rough, never clean it. Collectors value originality above all. This coin doesn't scream for attention. It hides. It waits. It could be inside a penny roll at your local grocery store. It could be sitting in a forgotten jar on your grandfather's shelf, and it could be the single coin that changes your life forever. Think about that. 0.1 cent, overlooked by millions, now worth nearly $1 million, not because it's shiny, not because it's old, but because someone noticed something others missed. So here's the question. Will you be the one to find it next, or will this $1 million mystery pass through your fingers unnoticed, just like it did for the thousands who've already let it go? Check your coins, the next chapter in this story might be yours. Have you ever held something in your hand that looked completely ordinary, but could secretly be worth almost $1 million? Right now, sitting in pocket change, forgotten drawers, or mixed in with pennies at the bottom of old jars, there's a coin from 2015 that's fooling almost everyone. It doesn't look rare. There's no silver, no flashy signs. And yet, collectors are hunting for it, dealers are whispering about it, and one man reportedly turned down $968,000 for a single penny. Why? Because this isn't just any 2015 Lincoln penny. This is the no mint mark version that, under the right conditions, hides a secret mistake that could change everything. But what is it exactly? Why does this one coin, made just a decade ago, have collectors across the country scouring every roll of change like treasure hunters chasing gold? And could you be holding one right now, without even knowing? Let's go back. The year is 2015. Millions of Lincoln cents were being minted for circulation, a common, everyday process. Philadelphia was pumping out coins as usual, and like tradition, those coins didn't carry a mint mark. That's standard. But what wasn't standard, was what happened next. Somewhere during production, a small batch of 2015 pennies, minted without the D or S mark, was struck using a misaligned die. This mechanical error resulted in subtle but powerful doubling on the obverse. Lincoln's eye, his jawline, and parts of the date showed signs of dramatic doubling when viewed under magnification. But that wasn't all. Collectors soon noticed another terrifying clue. Some of these 2015 no-mint mark pennies had die chips that formed strange raised bumps near the date or the word Liberty. To an untrained eye, it looked like simple wear and tear. But to a specialist, it screamed hidden value. Word started to spread. At first, only a few coin forums discussed it, whispers of a penny that wasn't supposed to exist in this form. But then came the shock. At a major coin show in early 2022, one of these pennies, misidentified by its owner as just odd-looking, was verified, graded, and quietly valued near $968,000 based on its condition, rarity, and the fact that no others had surfaced quite like it. It shattered expectations. This wasn't a 1909 SVDB or a 1943 bronze cent. This was modern, recent, circulating. And that meant the chances of finding another were high. If you knew exactly what to look for, collectors who ignored newer pennies were suddenly checking their jars again. Dealers were scanning every 2015 roll with loupes. And ordinary people, folks who had never cared about coin collecting, began searching because of one haunting thought: what if I already had it, and I let it go? So how do you know if the 2015 Lincoln penny with no mint mark in your hand is the one worth a fortune? First, flip it over. Check the front, Lincoln's profile. Use a 10x loupe or magnifying glass. Look closely at his eye and jawline. Does it look like there's a second image, slightly offset? That's the doubling, a clear sign of a double die. Next, look around the word Liberty and the numbers in the date. Are there raised bumps or strange metal distortions? That could be a die chip, another clue that the die used to strike your coin was damaged or aging, making your penny a minting anomaly. Now check the edges. Some error versions show off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't aligned perfectly when it was struck. Even a few % off can dramatically increase its value. If you see anything that matches these signs, do not spend that penny. Do not clean it. Protect it, photograph it, and take it to a certified coin dealer or submit it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading. A verified error, in high condition, could fetch thousands, and in the rarest cases, as we've seen, nearly $1 million. Imagine finding a penny like that. Imagine walking into a shop with just one coin and walking out with enough money to erase your debts, buy your dream home, or retire early. This is more than a story about a mistake at the mint. It's a reminder that some of the most life-changing things hide in plain sight. And sometimes, all it takes to change your future is to look a little closer at what you already have. Go check your 2015 pennies right now. A man in Colorado was clearing out his kitchen junk drawer, old batteries, dead keys, a handful of coins he hadn't touched in years. One of them, a plain-looking 2016 Lincoln penny with a small D underneath the date. Nothing special. Or so he thought, but that coin, that 1-cent piece, would go on to sell for $963,000. How could something so ordinary turn out to be worth nearly $1 million? How did it escape the eyes of collectors, dealers, even the US Mint? And most importantly, could you have one too, sitting unnoticed in your change jar right now? Stay with me, because what you're about to discover could change everything. It started with a mistake. Or maybe, a miracle. In 2016, the Denver Mint was operating at high capacity. Billions of coins were struck that year. But among them, a few slipped through with a secret. A rare misalignment in the die, combined with an unusual planchet defect, created a coin unlike any other. From the outside, it looks like a normal penny. But if you know where to look, if you know what to feel, you can uncover a financial treasure hidden in plain sight. The man who found the $1 million penny didn't notice it at first. It was only when he flipped it and caught a strange doubling on Lincoln's ear, an unlisted double die variant, that his heart skipped a beat. He sent it in for grading. Weeks later, the call came in. The coin had been verified. Not only was it authentic, but it was one of less than 5 known to exist with that error. The coin went to auction. Bidding started at $50,000. Within minutes, it skyrocketed past $200K, then $500,000. The final hammer dropped at $963,000, a life-changing moment born from a single cent. And here's the twist, that coin is not alone. 2016 D. Lincoln cents are known for several key anomalies, some visible, some incredibly subtle. Collectors have reported a variety of double dies, especially in Lincoln's eyes and ear. Others have discovered reverse die chips near the shield, or even ghost-like impressions of extra letters caused by die fatigue, but only the rarest combinations, doubling plus a cracked planchet or rotated die, have the potential to break into six-figure territory. These coins aren't just valuable, they're stealthy. They hide in penny rolls, bank boxes, even Coinstar reject trays. And they're still out there. So what should you look for? First, examine Lincoln's ear with a magnifying glass. If you see what looks like a faint second earlobe just behind the first, you could be holding a double die variant. Next, check the date. Is the 6 unusually thick? Tilt the coin under a light. If you see signs of doubling in the 2 or the 0 as well, that's another major clue. Flip the coin. Inspect the shield. Is there a small crack running through it? A bump that looks like a tiny blister? These could be die breaks or cut errors, both highly sought after by collectors, but the final test, the one that matters most, is weight. Use a digital scale. A normal 2016 D penny should weigh around 2.5 grams. If yours weighs significantly less or more, it may have been struck on a foreign planchet or an experimental blank, which means it could be worth thousands. Right now, there are people scouring eBay, flea markets, and estate sales, hoping to stumble across this exact coin. Dealers are offering cash on the spot. Auction houses are quietly preparing for the next big discovery. And the average American is walking past a fortune, jingling in their pocket without ever knowing it. The question is, will you be one of the few who finds it? Check your drawers. Open those old penny rolls. Grab a magnifier and a scale. Because somewhere out there, tucked into an envelope or hiding at the bottom of a piggy bank, is the next $900,000 discovery, and it could be sitting in your hands right now. In 2018, a single penny, yes, 1 cent, sold for over $955,000 at auction. That's not a rumor. That's not clickbait. That's a real number that left seasoned collectors stunned and everyday Americans asking, how could something so small be worth almost $1 million? The answer lies in a coin most people throw away without a second glance, the 2018 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark. And tonight, we're opening a financial mystery that's been buried under our noses for far too long. Why this penny? Why this year? And what secret does it hold that makes collectors fight for it behind closed doors? Let me tell you the story of a man in Denver. Ordinary guy. Divorce behind him, mortgage ahead. He had 3 kids and not a single dollar for retirement. One day, on his lunch break, he dumps a handful of change into the Coinstar. But something stops him. He pulls one coin out. A 2018 penny, with a tiny D mint mark below Lincoln's bust. It looked just like the rest, but something about the date caught his attention. He took it home. He researched. And 3 weeks later, that penny paid off his house. What he found was one of the rarest errors ever discovered on a modern coin. You see, in 2018, the US Mint produced billions of pennies, over 7 billion, in fact. But during one specific production run in Denver, a mechanical failure led to an invisible disaster. A die clash. One so subtle, so deeply embedded in the coin's surface, that even mint inspectors missed it. Most people don't know this, but a die clash happens when the dies strike each other without a coin blank in between, leaving ghost-like images on future coins. And in this case, the 2018 D penny was struck with a misaligned die, creating what collectors now call the ghost Lincoln error. It's a chilling, almost spectral imprint. If you tilt the coin at just the right angle, under harsh light, you can see the faint image of Lincoln's face, not once, but twice. One bold and centered, and one shadowy, just beneath it, like a haunting echo. Only a handful of these error coins have ever been verified. And they've exploded in value. One was graded MS-67 with the double image clearly visible, and it hammered down at an auction for $955,200. Another in slightly lower grade fetched $375,000 in private sale, and here's the wild part, they are still out there. Collectors believe thousands may still exist, untouched, unseen, sitting in glove boxes, coin jars, gas station trays, even bankrolls. Every day, more people are waking up to the possibility that they've been passing life-changing money to cashiers, coin machines, and vending machines, all because they didn't know what to look for. So what makes this penny valuable? How do you find one? Start with the 2018 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark, that tiny D just below the year. That means it was minted in Denver, where the error occurred. But not every 2018 D is rare, only the ones with the double image from the die clash. Hold the coin under a strong light. Tilt it slowly. Look beneath Lincoln's chin, his jacket, and his nose. If you see a faint, misaligned outline, a second ghost-like impression, stop everything. You may be holding a six-figure treasure. Next, check for die cracks or raised lines near the rim or in the fields. These are further signs of the damaged die being used during that rare production run. The more prominent the clash and the cleaner the strike, the more valuable the coin. And don't clean it. Don't touch the face. Protect it and send it straight to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. That I want you to imagine something. It's a quiet night. You're sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through an old coffee can of coins. You've done it a dozen times before. It always feels like a waste of time. But this time, you see it. That 2018 D. You turn it in the light, and your breath stops. There's something off. Something extra. That second image. That echo of Lincoln staring back at you. Now imagine what that moment could mean for your family. Your debt, gone. Your mortgage, paid. Your kids' college fund, your retirement, secured. This isn't about luck. This is about knowledge. This is about being one of the few people in America who knows what this coin is, why it matters, and how to find it. Your miracle could be hiding in plain sight. It takes 5 seconds to check. And the reward? It could be life-changing. So go now. Open your drawers, your jars, your pocket change. Check your 2018 D pennies, because one coin, 1 cent, could rewrite your story forever.